Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead in a very hot and steamy southeastern Kentucky. I'm Zach and I'm going to show you our garden today. So before we jump right into it, it's been about 2 weeks since we did our last garden tour and things have changed. That's such the fun part in the garden. Like when you watch it every day, it feels like it's, you know, minor, but literally just a week difference. And you can come back and look and be like, wow, what an explosion. That's why one reason we love doing these videos, because we can like track the progress of our plants and rewatch them and stuff like that. So first off, I would recommend, if you're not documenting your garden as it's growing through the season, do so. Start now. Take a picture once a month, once a week of just the overall layout, because that'll help you in next year's planning on, do I want to put those tomatoes there? Is that a good spot for the squash? Do I want to rearrange? Did things do better in certain areas? It's very helpful. And having data, being able to report back on what happened in the previous years and do like a little retro is very important to continuously have successful gardens year to year. So jumping right into it, we're gonna start with Jen's kitchen garden. So first off, in the green bean area, we had a little chicken incident over there. But we are still doing well on our green beans, and this bed's doing absolutely great. We're actually already harvesting green beans off of it and getting quite a few at a time. Something about green beans, and I know some of the old timers used to do it this way and still do it, and it's still successful, because picking green beans can be a very delicate task to pick while they're still on the plant. Some wait till the end, grab the whole plant out and pick the beans under a shade tree. You can do that, but I just wanted to inform you that if you have been doing that in the past, you can get a lot more green beans off your plants if you hand pick them as they come in. It's worth the extra effort to get quite a few more green beans. Going over to our next L, sweet potato vines galore. I mean, it has completely taken over this bed, and that's exactly what we wanted it to do. It's such a pretty entrance when you come and see this, and we can't wait for it to just continue to cover the beds and just keep getting prettier and prettier. The comfrey is coming back stronger. We've already done our 2 full cuts all the way down to the brim, and with the lack of rain we've had, it just shows you how strong a comfrey plant can be. I mean, it just keeps getting bushier and bushier, which is fantastic. Over here in this L is where the garlic was. We are going to be planting our cold crops in here. So we are going to be getting our fall crops set up. And so we'll probably have cabbages in here, since our cabbages this year got ate by bugs, and hope for better success in the fall. Over in this controlled jungle, we have gotten the weeds down. It's basically just grass in here now. We're going to reassess what we want to do in here. However, these are a lot of volunteer ground cherries that are starting to get ready. So here's one right there. Oh, no, that one didn't have one in it. But there's several in here. We've been snacking on them. It is the sweetest garden candy you will ever see. Here we got lemon balm. Here's a bunch of wild dill that had reseeded down in here, so we're letting it go. There's some chamomile here, mountain mint, and I think that's it in these beds. So far the kitchen garden is doing great this year. It's doing exactly like we wanted. Just a couple chicken issues every once in a while in the green beans, because they're learning to get around our motion detector water sprinkler, but I think we got them now. Hi, Rusty. Hi, Rusty. Garden dog. Hi. How are you? Doing good? Yeah? Right here is one of our green stalk garden planters that we have. It has all of our strawberries in it, and I think that's what we're gonna do with both of these, is just make them both strawberries. So this will have plenty of runners coming out of it this year, and we'll just take them and put them in there. And we love growing strawberries out of these planters. They're just awesome. I know that's like the basic thing you can do, but Jen and I are kind of basic people. We like some of just the basic stuff that you can do with some of these things. We get creative in some areas, but these are perfect for strawberries. And so we're gonna continue to grow them. I will let you know they're having a July 4th sale right now. It's buy one, get one 60% off, which is pretty awesome. And then we do have a code. It's just our last name, Stivers. It's down below. You can get an additional $10 off if you're interested. So if you've been thinking about it, it's one of their better deals that they have right now. So just wanted to let you know. Oh, y'all, I think we walked into the garden at the exact right time. So my zinnias have been a little later this year. If you're new, I love zinnias. I love them so much that there's a whole thing about Zach's zinnias. They're my favorite flower. Mexican sunflower's like right next to it, but my heart is still with the zinnias. Well, our first one has finally bloomed, and we get to look at it together. So here's my little zinnia area. And then here she is. So she's still got a few of her petals that need to completely unfold, but I love the orange zinnias. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Orange is a color you don't always see, in my opinion, and I think that's why I like these zinnias and the Mexican sunflowers, because they're orange as well. I believe this one is the Giants of California, because you can tell how big and bushy we're getting here, but they vine off and you get a lot of shoots out. So when you have zinnias, they're the cut and come back kind of flowers. So we will cut him as soon as he gets full, and we'll start making some vases so these things can really fill out. By the time fall comes, this will be zinnias galore. I love my flowers. It's kind of funny that I attach to them so much, but I really like flowers, and they're very important to have in your garden for bees and all the different pollinators that come. There's also a lot of edible flowers. I don't believe zinnias are. Don't eat zinnias. Moving right along to the kids' beds, because we didn't show them last week, and here's why. They're learning some hard lessons. So Wyatt's bed isn't doing too bad. He's got a viney thing here. Oh, that's cucumbers. Look at there. He's got some cucumbers in there. He's got a little zinnia, tomato plant. Not sure what that one is. It might be okra. Kind of looks like okra. Oh, there's a green bean on that one. Another zinnia, weed, more cucumbers, and a very, very big tomato plant. But it doesn't have any tomatoes, so he's not getting the greatest pollination on these bad boys. Raylan's bed, however, completely full of weeds. I mean, there's still some plants in there, but she got some viney stuff in here, and it just absolutely took over. We tell the kids when we plant them, these are their beds. We will happily help them, but it is their duty to keep them clean. We also told you all that we expected there probably to be some failures in this situation, and we wanted it to happen, not to discourage them, but for them to learn from it, and they have very much so, which has been good. It's part of it. I'm gonna get in there and help Raylan get some of them weeds out so we can at least try to save some things, but part of the lesson. Okay, bed number 1. So just for your reference, we're starting down here by the kids and the fence. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So you just have an idea where we are. So starting in bed number 1, I'm happy to say I think we're winning the battle. So this is the bed that had the peas in it, and we had all of those invasive viney weeds, really what's in Raylan's too, that was taking over. It choked out all of our peas, it choked out the carrots that we had direct sowed in there. And so we was like, you know what, we're gonna have to tackle this with something else viney and then stay on the weeds, which we have a lot better this time. So these are cucumbers over here, and then in the back are watermelons. The cucumbers here in the front are really doing amazing. They have completely covered this up and are choking out all of those little bitty weeds that would just take over and choke things out. So happy to see how well everything's doing. Everything's attaching. We got little cucumbers everywhere, and we'll be having cucumbers running out of our ears, which I know we needed a good season for it because we didn't grow that many last year. And what I mean by that is Jen and I, we rotate crops on what we're gonna have the most of. And so 2 years ago, we did cucumbers like this, had pickles out the booty. But now we're running low on our canned pickles and our different canned stuff that we do with the cucumbers. So this year we have to do that again. So I'm glad that one's doing so well. And then down here, continuing in bed 1, the watermelons are starting to vine pretty good and starting to take off. They're moving a little bit slower than I would like, but they're still doing all right. A lot of that has to just do with this heat and lack of rain. Okay, herb beds, number 2. So in number 1 herb bed is the rosemary. Looks beautiful. We'll probably actually do some cutting, so that'll help it bush out a little bit more. But she's really taking off and doing well. Bed number 2, we have some beautiful basil in here. I'm pretty sure Jen started Italian basil. We have been cutting this because it's been a little bit more of an overachiever, and you can already tell how it's really starting to bush itself out a lot more just from cutting it. All right, back to bed number 2. This is the one that's about to get pulled. So we do have some okra in here, there, and here, which we are starting to get a few at a time. But the broccoli is completely done. That needs to be pulled out. And here's the cabbages. So there are a couple that we were able to rescue, but a lot of them got completely ate up by the caterpillars. So, you know, lesson learned. This place is a little infested with all kinds of bugs. The netting did not help. They still succeeded in one. So we're just gonna try again in fall. But it was really fun growing this cabbage, even though it didn't come down to the greatest success. The good thing about cabbage is the leaves, everything is usable. So we are harvesting what we can out of them and just giving to the goats actually and the chickens what is just too far gone. So none of this is going to waste. It's just not exactly how we want it to happen. At the end of bed number 2, we have our Jerusalem artichokes that are really taking off. I don't know, you know, first year doing this, you know, we'll see what happens, but everything I can see, we're looking good. We're looking good. I do think though, the Jerusalem artichokes, they were given to us by a stock driver. It's got me wanting to grow actual artichokes, not Jerusalem artichokes too. So we'll have these, and then probably next year we'll probably grow some actual artichokes. One of my favorite things is in my salads, I love to have artichoke hearts that are like in herb oil in my salad. And so I was like, well, this has got me thinking, I think we need to try to put that in our 2023 garden. 1 and 2 and 2 herb beds done. Moving to bed number 3. So this is cool, y'all. This is that plant that Jen received from an Airbnb guest, and it makes beads for crafting. And look at there, there's 3 beads on it. Isn't that neat? The Mexican sunflowers are also starting to get really big. Now, Mexican sunflowers bush out really huge. So we'll see what we're gonna do here. But the thing is, they are in these grow bags that we got from Haas Tools. So we can move them around before it gets too out of control if we need to do so. We also have our sunflowers doing really well in all of our corner beds. My favorite though is what's happening here in bed number 4. Look at this, it's smaller, a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, biggest. And that one actually looks like we may be getting close to opening. That's pretty sweet. Okay, back on track here. So here we have a bunch of peppers. We've been harvesting jalapenos off these because we want the plants to get bigger. And then down here we have a lot of our bell plants and poblano plants that are now to the size we want them. So now we just want them to start producing quite a bit of food. Here we have Jen's loofah, one of her loofahs that are really taking off. Yeah, I remember she was really worried that they wouldn't or they were behind. Well, we're starting to send off shoots everywhere. We got loofah plant everywhere. Seriously, probably by the time we do another garden tour, this will be completely green from loofah, because once it goes, she goes. Down here we have a few of our pepper plants that were very slow going, but we wanted to plant them just to see what we could do if they would try to take off. They're starting to. They're trying to get there. Over here is a forest of zucchini and squash, and we're getting zucchini and squash every day now, which is really exciting. And thankfully, knock on wood, no squash bugs yet. And right here, it's hard to tell, but there are cucumbers that are attached to this trellis, and then on this side as well, quite a few cucumbers that are coming in pretty good. Down here is our okra part of the bed. It's funny, they're all very different sizes. Now they are different different varieties, so that might have something to do with it, but they're all very healthy and doing good. Just this guy, for whatever reason, is just really showing off. But there's okra all over all of them. This one we've been able to get a couple out of, but we'll have that running out of our ears very soon. And on this trellis, which we're moving to bed number 4, these are pumpkins, and they are really taking off. And we've actually got quite a few little bitty pumpkins already on here that are going to start growing. But I'm excited about this. It's one of my favorite things to grow in the garden is pumpkins, and honestly, it's because of the kids. I love that excitement of a pumpkin patch, and I can't wait to see this fully formed all over the arch. And as you can see, like right here, here's a little guy that's going. We're not worried about having to support them. If that comes, that's easy enough to do. It's just gonna be really pretty seeing them grow on here. At the end of that bed, quick checkup. We do have a couple oreganos here that are really doing good as well. Also, the Roselle hibiscus is doing good. It's finally starting to get that form of a thick stalk because it honestly kind of looks like a bush. It really is a bush. So to get a real nice thick stalk and then be huge. They're slow growers. That's why it takes a while for them to grow and then to flower. But I really love these, and I'm excited to see their growth. Okay, after you get past the pumpkins right here, all of this is green beans. And man, they have been struggling up and down. They got hit with some bugs. We took care of it. They got hit with the drought. We took care of it. And they are resilient. So I'm really excited about these. We're going to have green beans out of our ears as long as we can keep winning. But overall, there's all kinds of flowers, and they're starting to get some green beans on them. We would just like to see them get a little bit more bushier, and we'll be there, but it's okay. Now for the mountain the wall of tomatoes. We have tomatoes everywhere still. They keep getting more and more. We've got some monsters on here, and I'm happy to say we've harvested 3 tomatoes and had our first fresh one yesterday morning. It was just like heaven in your ears because you wait so long to get that nice fresh tomato, and you know that store-boughts are terrible. They have no flavor whatsoever, and finally getting that farm fresh one from your garden is about the greatest harvest you'll have the entire year. The 2 winners, the 2 varieties that were winner, terracotta first, and then the black crown tomato. Those were our 2 first tomatoes of the year, and they were pretty good size. So the tomato bed's doing great. Here we have some sugar baby watermelons that are starting to attach and take off, which is good to see. Over here we have some Kajari melons that are attaching to this. And then the rest of this is other squashes and more pumpkins. So we have some winter squashes in here. We have different squash varieties that are like pumpkins, but technically. So here's me trying to be like all educational and I tell you the right way. They're pumpkins, okay? But pumpkins are also in the squash family. But there's certain varieties that you wouldn't call a pumpkin. It really is a squash, but it looks like a pumpkin. So if all that makes complete sense to you, what I'm trying to say is this is a bunch of viney stuff that is going to either be a pumpkin or a squash or a winter squash. And so that's what's all in this bed. We direct sowed them after the corn didn't succeed very well, but these are, thankfully. Look at there. That's another one blushing really well. Probably be picking her tomorrow. These guys are cool. I'm excited to see them. I'm not even gonna try to say the name. It's like Sort Release or something, but they're really pretty. I'm excited to see what they look like when they're done. Look at this whopper of a mortgage lifter. I mean, it's not even starting to blush yet, and so it's got more room to grow that fruit. Big old tomatoes. And then lastly, in the tomato bed, we have some honeydews that are right there, little bitty fuzzy things. And they are doing well on that. We also have another sunflower here that's trying to fight its way through the tomatoes around it. Here, she's still got her 4 little mini lavenders. And then in this bed, we have calendula, which we just keep taking off so for us to be able to dry, but they're all doing pretty well. So overall, we are just absolutely thrilled with the garden. Most days it looks like this, sweaty, hot, but when you put that effort in, your garden looks like it does today. I know it sucks. I know it's hot. I know it's hard to get out there. Try to get out there in the mornings, try to do it once the sun sets, but stay on it. If something's not succeeding and it dies out, it's okay. I promise, it is okay. Take that out. You still have plenty of time to plant something. You know, that corn went out and that was a big bummer. We really wanted to have a good corn harvest in there, but now it's flipping around and it's gonna have us a good squash and pumpkin harvest. And that's something that we also really enjoy. Like I had mentioned, it's one of my favorite things to grow. I've always wanted us to have our home pumpkin patch so the kids didn't have to go pay an incredible price for these different pumpkins. And it's just, it's nice. What I have noticed is because of our weather, because of some of the different beds that were delayed in planting or having to replant, we're a tad behind when it comes to what everybody's harvesting. And maybe you're feeling that same way. Maybe you're a little bit behind and you're seeing everybody post on social media their tomatoes that they're having in your same zone, or already have a buku of zucchini and squash and yours a little, but it's all in your same area and you're like, why am I not there? It's okay. They were probably just a couple weeks ahead in getting the stuff in the ground. But the season is so long that you can take these things to frost. Like, you have to remember that. It doesn't have to be this is the exact time you get it. You can be a couple weeks behind your neighbor. You're still gonna get a harvest. So try to take out any of that jealousy, any of that fear of your garden not doing well, and know that yours is coming too. You just gotta stick with it. And just garden. Just garden. Garden, don't point yourself to each other, don't compare yourself to each other. Just garden, grow your food, because y'all, this is your grocery store. This is your grocery store. With everything that's been going on, with all the shortages, with all the price increases, like, this is where you need to get your food from. It's fun, it's enjoyable, but that hard effort you're putting into is literally could be your food this winter. So keep it up, do not quit. Keep replanting. If something dies, put something else in the ground, work a little harder, try a little harder, and know that you have to have this food. You need it in your pantry, and how comfortable you'll feel when wintertime comes and it might hit us again with all these different shortages, you can eat. You can eat from your food that you work so hard for in the summer. We're in the grind of it right now. It will easily wear you out, but no, winter will be here before we know it, and we can rest then. That's when we'll sleep, but we'll also eat. Y'all, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button for me. We love y'all, and until the next one, keep gardening.